Guys, Donald Trump is in panic mode right now. Over the entire course of the election, he used the idea that people trusted him more than any Democrat on the economy massively to his advantage. So many voters were voting for no other reason than because they thought Trump would bring about a stronger economy, that he would eliminate inflation, and he would bring back American manufacturing jobs using his tariff policies. He even claimed and admitted in the lead up to the election that there might be some negative outcomes due to this, that there might be some pain that we have to ride out, but in the long run, things will get better. That's what he promised. The issue with that is it was all a lie, and Donald Trump has always been willing to say whatever he needs to say to gain people's trust and support, to gain people's reverence even. He'll say anything, no matter how untrue, how impossible, how insane to utter those words are. He will say what he must to get a crowd cheering. And that's what he did. He promised them things that either were already true of the Biden economy. He made up problems that didn't exist. He gaslit an entire country into thinking one of the healthiest economies America has ever seen has been one of the most unstable and weakest economies America's ever seen. Did you notice how literally overnight, once Trump got elected, everyone stopped complaining about the economy? Trump started taking credit for the economy after he won, in fact, claiming that the reason the economy was so strong at the end of Biden's term was that people were excited about him taking office. He gaslit all of America into thinking that Biden destroyed the economy and that the positives of Biden's economic policy were all because of the possibility that he would come back into office. The gaslighting was real, dude. But now he's in office, and it's been 8 months. The period for riding out hard times is starting to run thin, alongside the latent unhappiness people have been feeling towards Trump due to his cover-up of the Epstein files. And so now, Trump not delivering great economic growth, and in fact, bringing about the first quarters we've seen of outright economic shrinking. The US GDP dropped quarter by quarter ever since Trump took office. Unprecedentedly, we've seen the US economy shrink. It's genuinely insane. That alone was already catastrophic, especially for a country like America that sustains itself off of constant growth. And so that was already scary. But now, the thing Donald Trump has been banking on, validating everything that he lied about, being the July job numbers coming in for domestic jobs brought to America, or created in America. When those numbers came out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they did not make Trump look good. In fact, we're seeing record low numbers of jobs, new jobs in America, during the height of job season in America. Like, this is job season. We're seeing magnitudes less work than people have done in the past. And it's shown that Trump and his policy are not actually helping issues like unemployment. And Trump got so mad about this and how blatantly it doesn't make him look good that he has gone and retaliatorily fired pretty much the entire Bureau of Labor Statistics. Just said,
I don't like your data. The data makes me look bad, so I'm firing you all. I'm putting someone in charge who's willing to lie to make me look good. This is what you get.
Which has more or less been his policy ever since he took office, but to see it done so blatantly in response to data coming out that makes him look like a liar who overpromised, it's not the best combo. Trump's definitely been skating on thinner ice than ever lately. I'm not complaining, though. I love seeing him crash and burn. Let's just hope it actually ends up being a crash and not just a bit of turbulence that goes its way. Anyway, folks, I brought up a video by MSNBC about this, so let's hear about this mass firing that Trump did. And how are people responding? I assume MAGA is defending it as they always do, like the bots they are. Many of them literally are bots.
Begin with the economic uncertainty created by President Trump, who, in the face of negative news about the U.S. economy, did what he so often does: fire the messenger. He announced he'd directed the termination of the head of the
Donald Trump really is like the kind of villain in a movie where like one of their goons comes up to them to give them some bad news, and they're like terrified as they say it, and you're like, why are they so scared? Like, they work for this guy. Like, yeah, he's the villain, but like, they work for him. Why is he so scared to tell him some bad news? It's not his fault. And then the villain like kills his own dude out of like anger that things aren't going his way. Trump is that kind of like villain, but in real life. He does literally shoot the messenger out of sheer anger over the message that he received.
Bureau of Labor Statistics just hours after a weak jobs report showed signs of a clear slowdown in the job market. In a social media post, he attacked Erica McInerney, the commissioner of the BLS, saying reports, quote, are being produced by Biden appointee, adding that important numbers like this must be fair and accurate. They can't be manipulated for political purposes, without providing any evidence of his claim. Trump also claimed the numbers were rigged to make Republicans and him look bad, and said he didn't believe the numbers in an interview Friday night.
I love how every time anything could possibly ever make Trump look in any way slightly flawed or fallible, Trump comes out to say that it's all lies and slander. Every time. Like, if you don't believe that Trump is a liar, then like Trump is literally infallible. He's never once lied in any of these situations. He's always been the good guy. Everyone's against him. And he is always the single constant, like the only constant, and everything in Trump's life is that he's correct always, and everybody else in the world who has ever gone against him is wrong. The amount of mental gymnastics his supporters have to do at this point is insane, dude. Like, the people who are defending this are probably cooked forever. I don't think there's any coming back from defending this. Like, you're just gone. Like, you just worship the guy to worship the guy.
I think that these numbers were incorrect today. It's a Biden appointee, and we've had problems in the past, and we had problems even before the election. I don't believe those numbers. I think because we're doing so well.
Listen, if Donald Trump saw that the numbers were actually, instead, if the numbers came out and they claimed record job growth over the last month, in no world would Trump ever call into question the validity of those numbers, nor would he punish by firing the people who work at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The fact that it makes him look bad is the only reason why he's casting doubt. And that alone should be a red flag about the trustworthiness of such a person and whether or not we should consider him for such an office at all. But somehow, more than half of this country has just decided to become retarded and lose all common sense and ability to detect when someone is bullshitting them. Trump is the guy who's selling bridges.
And we fired her.
Friday's jobs report showed a major downturn in hiring, with just 73,000 jobs added in July, well below expectations, and revised numbers from
Keep in mind, it's supposed to be in the hundreds of thousands.
May and June showed the U.S. added 258,000 fewer jobs than previously reported. It's worth noting, monthly jobs numbers have been revised down and up several times since President Trump took office. But this disappointing jobs report comes a day after Trump rolled out a sweeping new set of tariffs just hours before his own self-imposed August 1st deadline for deals.
As you can imagine, and this should not surprise any of you even in the slightest, it killed the market. The market took a massive shit on itself because of Trump's tariffs going through.
But the start date has been pushed back until August 7th, giving trading partners a week to negotiate. It's creating a new dose of uncertainty for consumers and businesses. That uncertainty sent.
Apparently, contractors are the ones seeing the bulk of the impact of this tariff policy out the gate. A lot of their equipment and a lot of their materials they need for, let's say, their construction workers or their plumbers or their electricians, the things that they need to do their job have gone up significantly in price because, as it turns out, a lot of those raw materials in particular, like if you're a construction worker or you do like some kind of like repair work that requires materials, those materials have just gotten a lot more expensive unless they all come from America and at no point exchange hands across a border that goes outside of America. And so apparently a lot of private contractors that run their own businesses are the ones really getting shafted right now and are like, oh, fuck, this is bad, and are feeling it first because they're eating the price of the tariffs right now. Like, immediately, right now, they're eating the price. Most Americans have not started to eat the cost of tariffs yet. It's not happened yet. Trump has continued to chicken out and rolled back the tariffs and delayed them and delayed them and delayed them. I feel like he doesn't want the effects of the tariffs to be too closely associated with him taking office, and so he wants to, like, wait a year before he lets it happen. But, yeah, you know, like, this is... It's just very blatant that this will only hurt America, but Americans are screamingly in favor of this tariff policy that will hurt America, but they are way convinced it'll help. You know, it's a bit like They Live, where you've got, like, the guy trying to get his buddy to wear the glasses and see the, like, alien ghoul people as they truly are, but he won't put on the glasses. Right? Like these people are so attached to their fake reality where tariffs are like a tax on the governments of other countries or other countries' businesses, and that other countries are going to pay the difference, and it's going to bring manufacturing back to America also somehow by doing that. Like, it's so bizarre. And the ones that recognize it's going to cause serious inflation all claim, yeah, that's the plan. It'll cause inflation so people will have to buy American. But they won't acknowledge the fact that we don't have the infrastructure or the means to only manufacture American. So you're basically pigeonholing people into having to pay tariff prices on a variety of products that cannot be made in America. Ever. At least not without tariffs affecting their price. Very stupid stuff.
And markets into a tailspin. Wall Street posted its worst day in months as investors absorbed the 1-2 punch of the new tariffs and the poor jobs report. Joining us now, Courtney Brown, senior economics reporter for Axios, and former Senator Heidi Heitkamp of the great state of North Dakota. Thank you both very much for coming to the weekend. Senator, let me start with you, because I think people need to understand who Erica McInerney is, the Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioner who the president fired. You know, she was confirmed to that position in January of 2024 on a bipartisan 86-8 vote in the Senate. And I'm going to read from this poll quote here. Among the Republican senators who voted to confirm her included then Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, who is now Trump's vice president, and then Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, who, as we all know, is, among other things, Trump's Secretary of State. So, Senator, given who this person is, and given the reason why President Trump fired her, how will we ever be able to trust the jobs numbers going forward? How can we know that the data will be...
We can't. Anybody that Trump puts into office from here on out, we can't trust anything that comes out of their mouths anymore. Trump pretty much fired everyone at the CDC, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And so now, like, even CDC numbers are questionable. Famously, a few months ago, he fired the entire sector of the CDC whose focus is studying drownings and advising the Red Cross on how to train lifeguards to like handle drownings and respond to drownings and updates them on like the statistics for drownings each year. Trump axed that entire sector of the CDC. We cannot trust the government as a source of information on anything now. Because if they put out any info Trump doesn't like, he'll fire every one of them and put loyalists in charge.
Be reliable.
Well, I mean, you have to hope that people within this idea that she's sitting there and she gets like all these numbers and does it herself is just ridiculous. We all know that there's been year after year modeling. There has been a whole algorithm devised. I mean, a lot of this is on autopilot, right? And so she's not doing anything other than reporting the numbers. She's not designing these numbers. And so the question, given that the system spit out that level of jobs, then what is the path going forward if Trump wants better numbers? And you have to hope that people, economists and people who know how important this data is and how it's been developed over a long period of time and relied on over a long period of time, that they will resist any change to manipulation of the numbers. But we'll wait and see. I mean,
I hate how much of this is. We just have to hope that people stand by their principles within our government. It's like, really? We have to hope that the people Trump appoints sacrifice their safety and all the benefits of sucking up to Trump in order to stand by principles that, because they were appointed by Trump, they probably never had. And that's what can save us here. That is the reality in which we can still trust anything coming out of the government now. Like, I've become a full-on, like, hippy-dippy, fuck the government, bro, type guy ever since Trump took office, because now, unironically, there's a deep state controlling things now, who are lying to the public about just about everything, doing nonstop cover-ups, but so badly that they're making it obvious to most people, so there's a reason for people to be suspecting of some kind of grand conspiracy. I feel like a conspiracy theorist, but, I mean, it's real, though. I mean, Trump and his cronies have been implicated by courts. Trump has had fall guys go to prison for crimes that they got implicated in as opposed to Trump. But they were still working for him, and said crimes benefited Trump. They were just clearly fall guys. Like, it has been shady from day one. This has always been their goal. So I feel like I'd be remiss not to kind of be a bit of a conspiracy government bad bro. At least for the next 2 years, 3 years.
you know, it's just so typical. It's like, I know better. And it's like, the numbers are the numbers. Mm-hmm. And he just refuses to accept facts. And he's got to, in my opinion, respond to this in a way that is professional and say, what can I do to change these numbers? Change these numbers going forward by changing his economic policies and not by changing the numbers.
Courtney, you already have.
Trump has a massive ego and refuses to admit that the tariff policy that he ran on was wrong. So he still has to do it out of sheer pride. So no, he'll never avert course. What he has to do is find a way to effectively lie to the American people and make it look like things are better than ever. Now that he's going to be appointing his own Bureau of Justice Statistics people to make up stats for him, I wonder what stats he's going to have them put out. Are we going to see like record economic growth numbers month by month, despite like every American not being able to afford anything? Like is he just going to like go hard on it? Like, Trump is going to do the like presidential equivalent of a student turning an F into an A on their test by like markering on an extra line, But Trump's not just doing that. Trump's not just making an F into a B or an A. Trump is making an F into an A+. That's what he's going to do. Trump is that kind of guy. So I expect him to say, or to make them say, that every month of his presidency from here on out has seen record, like month on month, record job growth, inflation decreases, like across the board. He's going to make up the best stats for himself. Yeah, I saw you, man. I saw.
Have Democratic senators who are saying there should be some type of investigation into this. There should, they should maybe hold off on confirming whoever Trump puts up next. We also have GOP senators who have some issues with this. I'm going to play some sound for you and get your response on the other side.
If the president is firing the statistician because he doesn't like the numbers, but they are accurate, then that's a problem.
Now, if it was just fired because the president or whoever decided to fire the director just did it because they didn't like the numbers, they had to grow up.
That was
So, Courtney,
Republican
what
who
are
said
we
that.
actually seeing from Republicans here? It hasn't been that long, but we're already starting to see some responses that, Lummis is not, one who typically goes against the president on many things, if any.
Yeah, I think the reaction you're getting here is that this is supposed to be a very boring agency that no one talks about. Right. And the fact that we're talking about it, I think, speaks volumes. This is not a political agency by any means. What we know about the official who is acting on a temporary basis is that he's been at the BLS for years. He was an Obama appointee. So I think we can have some assurance that there will be no fudging of the numbers. But the fact that we're even asking this question, it's similar to the Federal Reserve and President Trump's pressure of Fed Chair Jay Powell. We're worried, I'm worried, my sources are worried, people on Wall Street are worried that whoever is next in the Fed Chair post, there's
I wouldn't be surprised if Trump eliminates the Federal Reserve. It is such a popular policy among conservatives. I don't know how it doesn't get talked about a lot because it's kind of entwined into real politics. It's somewhat, to a degree, an actual policy position, and it isn't rooted in some culture war talking point. But conservatives really hate the Federal Reserve. They despise it. And they want it eliminated entirely. They believe that control of the government, the country's finances should be executively controlled. You can guess who they want in that position of power, by the way. And they also believe that we should be using the gold standard, that we need to go back to the gold standard. And literally just today, I heard a conspiracy theory that these people believe, those that are opposed to the concept of there being a United States Federal Reserve. They believe that the Titanic was a false flag caused by people they believe that the Titanic was like a 9/11 basically, that wealthy individuals who were backing the creation of the Federal Reserve used the Titanic to assassinate a number of rich, powerful people who were in favor of it. I'm not joking. This is a real conspiracy theory that conservatives have been passing around lately because they've really gotten onto this end the Federal Reserve thing, and they've been pressuring Trump to do it. Not as loud and in as great of numbers as other issues or anything. I just stumbled upon that today. And when they mentioned the Federal Reserve, I needed to tell y'all about it, because that conspiracy is a whole new level of fuck it. Let's just make shit up that makes our side sound like the good guys.
There's going to be questions about their political independence.
Courtney?
Yes.
How dare you say that about the BLS?
Sorry.
He thinks about it a lot.
It's neither boring nor forgettable. Can we get to the underlying issue here, which is the economy, right? I mean, Trump wouldn't be reacting this way if we didn't have a fairly negative jobs report. I mean, obviously there was growth, but we had incredible revisions, 250,000 revisions for the 2 months prior. What's the sort of macro takeaway about the state of the economy that set Trump off to decide that he had to sack the head of this, as you say, boring agency?
Well, what Trump probably doesn't like, I'm going to spoil it here, is probably the fact that Biden oversaw unprecedented economic growth in the last half of his election, of his presidency, and then as soon as Trump got into office and started putting economic policy in place, the market shit the bed, our GDP growth shit the bed, inflation started rising, and now all of our trade partners are on unfriendly terms with us, and things are only going to get worse. When Trump promised unbelievable, prosperity, and we're going to get the exact opposite. He's scared. I think for the first time in his political career, the Epstein stuff, the state of the economy, Trump is actually scared.
Is something kind of ironic here, which is because we got these revisions, because we got this jobs report, we thought the job market was chugging along all summer. Yesterday, 8:30, we learned, oh, actually, the economy has barely been adding jobs at all over the last few months. This is the best case Trump has to get his rate cut.
Right.
And that is what he's been wanting. The Federal Reserve might look at these job numbers and say, okay, the labor market is in a weaker position than we thought, so perhaps we need to give the economy a little bit of gas by lowering interest rates. And after the jobs report came out, bets that the Fed would...
I don't see Trump sitting down, talking with the guys at the Federal Reserve to figure out how they can respond to inflation and slowing economic growth and unemployment. Like, I don't know. I don't see Trump doing that. That's actually what the president is supposed to do in situations like this. And Trump doesn't do that. Trump's just going to try to come up with some stupid idea on his own and gaslight America into thinking it worked. I don't see that happening. Like, we're giving him too much credit. Trump is a retard who thinks he's smart. He refuses to talk to actual smart people and learn anything.
Would cut rates in September surged. So President Trump might get that rate cut that he wants, but not for the reason that he was hoping for.
Because maybe a bad economy.
It's the bad news rate cut, not the good news rate cut.
Right.
And Heidi, maybe the president will get that rate cut that he's looking for because of two things. One, he's calling on the Federal Reserve Board to take control of the central bank from Fed Chair Powell. But the other, something more immediate happened. Fed Governor Adriana Kugler resigned. She's resigning. And that will give President Trump a nominee on the committee that sets interest rates. And I want to put this, this is a CNBC report from earlier in the week, and I want to read this. Two of his prior appointments, Christopher Waller and Michelle Bowman, voted against the decision at Wednesday's meeting to hold the Fed's key rate steady, instead indicating they wanted to lower. Kugler was absent for the vote. Senator, again, back to the...
It feels like our government is just falling apart. Like, it really just feels like everything is melting. And nothing is working the way it's supposed to anymore because so many cogs in the machine have been broken. Now its overall function is kind of creeping down to a halt.
The notion of will we ever be able to not only trust BLS statistics, but will we ever be able to trust the decisions made at the Fed if the president gets a nominee who does what he wants, and if, as a result of this new nominee coming in, there is a quote-unquote coup and Chairman Powell is ousted, keeping in mind his term is up in May of 26 anyway.
Well, first off, that's why you have a lot of people who sit on the Board of Governors, is to avoid these massive swings based on appointments and based on politics. They have two jobs: keep inflation low and to keep employment full, or as full as what it can be. And the problem that you have right now for the Fed is they have two things coming at them. They have a low jobs report, which I think everybody anticipated. And it's not just Trump's economy. AI is taking a lot of jobs out of this market, and they haven't appropriately responded to that. So,
dude, that's the thing that a lot of people aren't considering is we're seeing unprecedented exponential job loss to automation, as well as Trump going across the board to destroy so many vital jobs that need to be done, to remove the people who are working them from this country through deportation, because he sees them as like a leech on the system, and Americans see them as leeches on the system, when in reality, legal and illegal immigrants alike are filling the most vital jobs in our society that Americans just won't work. So we're seeing job loss to automation, we're seeing job loss to deportation, and probably quite a few other factors as well, all coming together to cause this problem. And it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. exponentially worse year by year, probably.
He's got a jobs report, but now he's got tariff inflation-inducing tariffs coming at the Fed. And so they're going to have to balance this. And I think it's going to take more than one appointment to change how they look at numbers and how they think about it. And, you know, the president has done such a horrible job with fiscal policy going forward. We're going to let him run monetary policy, which is what the Feds do. That's another disaster moving forward. And you see the market respond to any argument that Jay Powell should be removed very negatively, because they don't want this administration running monetary policy. And so, you know, this is going to...
I love how the right has to still find a way to do the mental gymnastics to claim Trump is like the business guy. But anytime Trump does anything, the market, like, and this isn't a private, like, there's literally charts you can watch in real time as the market, like, just shits itself every time Trump does anything. And meanwhile, you've got these people saying it's actually good. The market is in a really good place. Like, Trump's really good at economics, even though every time he does anything related to economics, the market dies. Like, the amount of mental gymnastics they have to do is insane, man. And of course, you've got the same ones that are still defending Trump despite the Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
Cause real, I think, a real examination within the Fed. But I don't think there's any threat that in the near term Trump's going to be able to take over the Fed.
Senator Heitkamp, in the 45 seconds that I have left with you, sorry to ask you this question that's heavy, but Recep Tayyip Erdogan also did something like this in 2022. He didn't like his numbers, and so he got rid of the statistics chair. I was talking to some folks yesterday, and they said this is, again, an example of some of the backsliding of democracy that we've seen in this country. Do you have that concern?
Absolutely.
Obviously.
And I think it was heartening to see those two Republican senators say, oh, you know, grow up. The numbers are the numbers. And so hopefully we can count on a few people in the Senate to push back. Otherwise, you know, it's typical of autocratic governments. You don't like the numbers, just pretend they don't exist. Don't like the outcome, pretend it doesn't exist.
Courtney Brown, thank you. Senator.
That's how it is. Donald Trump doesn't like how the numbers are. The economy is not doing well. He's actually ruining the market. He's ruining our economic growth. We're seeing record low amounts of job gain in America. We're seeing job loss on great scales in America. Anybody who isn't lying to themselves can see that Trump is failing to keep up any of the promises he's made. In fact, he's doing the opposite of what he promised. He's ruining us and making us worse off than we were when he got into office. You can only promise so much and lie so hard before some kind of recognition in mass scale comes along. Like, I don't believe that MAGA can be this loyal forever. I think there is a bottom to their well of loyalty. I don't think it's bottomless. I could be wrong, but maybe I'm being hopeful. Maybe I'm being too optimistic and a bit of a bloomer here, but I think their loyalty to Trump is not bottomless, and I think we're starting to get close to the floor of that well. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way at all, then please consider leaving a like and a comment, whether you're watching live or after the fact when this goes up as its own video. Every like and comment forces the YouTube algorithm to promote my channel and my videos, so I really appreciate you guys doing it. It's totally free and takes just a second, so please, be a liker, not a lurker. If you're gonna lurk, make sure you like too. And if you want to see more from me in the future, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, be sure to follow my social medias linked down below in the description, particularly my fan Discord, as that is the main hub of my community and fan base, and I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, or movie nights every week on Fridays, so if you don't want to miss anything, join through the link down below. And finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then consider financially supporting the stream by donating on my website, subscribing or gifting a sub to someone else, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support the channel, though, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I hope you have a good one.